Oh, you have your mute on.
Sorry, you.
Sorry.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. My name is Irina. I'm from Kazakhstan, and I am a teacher of chemistry and physics. I have two educations, and I work in village school. Our school is not very big, but I love my work and my students. And I work with STEAM about 3 years. It's all.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So it's Irina. Is that how you say it? How do you say your name again?
Excuse me?
How do you pronounce your name?
It's you can speak Irina or Irina.
Okay, Irina. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Ina?
Yes. Good evening, colleagues. My name is Zina. I'm from Kazakhstan. I'm biology teacher in private school, INAES school, Nazarbayev Intellectual School. And I have experienced 25 years in school, and I like make with my student project, science projects, and some event for education. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you, Ina. Saltanat?
Hello, everyone. My name is Saltanat. I'm from Kazakhstan. I'm a teacher of mathematics and ICT. But it's my second education. My first bachelor was engineering. I have experience with STEM about 3 years also. What else? Now I was so encouraged and excited about STEM education, so I decided to continue my education, and now I'm PhD doctoral student in STEM education in Kazakhstani University.
Okay.
So nice to meet you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you too. Thank you. Murni Ramli? Is that correct? I don't see Murni.
I don't understand the name Consuelo.
Oh, it's, oh, sorry. No, now I don't see the name. How about, Agan? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I say your name incorrectly.
Aigenem?
Agnem?
Aigenem, yeah, you're good. So, hi everyone, it's great to see new faces and new people. So, my name is Aigenem. I'm from Kazakhstan as well. And I'm quite a new in STEM education. So, this is my first project. So, I'm really happy to be here. So, thank you. I hope it's going to be very useful and helpful in the future. Thank you.
I hope so too. I hope you will find it helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, I will drop the pronunciation in a right
Thank
here.
you.
Aigenem.
Thank you. And Azlini?
Hello, hi. My name is Azlini. I'm from Malaysia, and I'm teach chemistry. So nice to meet you guys. So I'm so excited to learn more about STEM. Okay, thank you.
Nice to meet you too. Inda,
Hi, morning. My name is Indah, and my background is from mechanical engineering. And I would like to learn how to integrate the engineering into the STEM. Thank you.
thank you. And Inda, where are you from?
Sorry, I'm from Indonesia, Morales.
Thank you. And Risanti?
Hello everyone, my name is Risanti. I'm from Indonesia. I'm from Ahmad Dahlan University. I'm a lecturer of biology education, and I would like to learn about STEM education. Thank you.
Thank you, Risanti. Darren?
Hey, good evening. My name is Darren. I am a teacher of physics at school.
I'm sorry, could you say that one more time? You are?
I'm from Kazakhstan.
Okay. And what do you teach, did you say? I'm sorry.
I teach physics.
Oh, physics, okay. Thank you, Darren. There's another, Irina. No,
Yes,
oh, no, I'm sorry, I saw your picture. Sorry about that, did I, Kin? I didn't get to Kin. Kin too? How about, we spoke with Nadra? We didn't speak with Nadra. Oh, I can't hear Nadra. Nadra, we can't hear you. I don't know if you can hear us.
Okay, one more time. Can you
Oh,
hear me
good.
clearly?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Nadra. I am from Malaysia. My teaching background, I taught science and biology for almost 10 years in a government high school near Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia.
Thank you. And Saul, she's on the road, so maybe we'll let her focus on the road. Febriani?
Hello, my name is Febriani Sarwenda. I am from Universitas 11 Maret, Indonesia. I am a science education lecturer and I'm graduated from biology education. Nice to see you.
Thank you very much. And oh, Kisara, I have been emailing with Kisara.
Kesra.
Kesra, sorry. Thank you. Kesra, did you want to introduce yourself? You're muted. How about Sokun 3?
Yes.
Did I say that correctly?
Yes, hello. My name is Yon Sakontiri. I'm from Cambodia. I'm a lecturer in biology. I work in PTech, in Phnom Penh Teacher Education College. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you too. Opal? Oh no, yeah, Opal. I don't know if that's the phone, A54. Or Solinda.
Good evening. My name is Solinda. I'm from Cambodia as a son country, and I am a science teacher. I teach at Phnom Penh Teacher Education College.
Thank you, Solinda.
Thank you.
And Sam?
Yeah, good afternoon. Sorry, good evening. My name is Sam from Phnom Penh Teacher Education College, and my major is science. Nice to see you.
Thank you. I don't know if we heard from UNS Murni Ramli.
Yes, sorry, I just have a bad connection here. My name is
Oh.
Murni Ramli. I'm from Indonesia. I'm a lecturer in Universitas 11 Maret in Department of Biology Education. I'm teaching about pedagogy. Thank you.
Thank you. Did I miss anybody? If I did, please introduce yourself. I can't see everybody. Okay, so well, and everybody knows Joe already. And Murni, did you want to say anything?
No, you can just go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So my name is Consuelo Morales. I am an academic specialist working at Create for STEM Institute. I am a former middle school and high school teacher from Los Angeles. I'm originally from California, and I did a master's in public health before I did my PhD in secondary science education. And my passion is really in supporting teachers to work on their three-dimensional teaching and how that really supports student learning. And I'm not sure what else. I have actually worked with Joe since I was a master's student at University of Michigan. I've been very lucky to work with him for all of these years. And so I'm very honored to be asked to come and work with all of you. And I'm really excited to talk about the units that, the diabetes unit that I've been working on for a while. I helped do some of the revisions. I'm not the original author of this unit, but I helped write revisions on it, and we've been working with this unit for now about 10 years. So please, if there are any questions, I think Joe is going to help me with the chat. And so Joe, just stop me if there's a question that we need to stop and talk about.
Certainly. So everybody put questions in the chat or comments in chat, and I'll make sure Consuela gets them or hears them.
So with that, I wanted to, if you're in the document, I sent a PDF version and I sent a link to the PowerPoint. And I'm on slide 3, the agenda. So today, let's see, well, we're only a minute off, that's pretty good. So we did introductions, we're gonna do an overview of Health in Our Hands. We're going to experience the driving question. So one of the things that we really focus on when we do professional development and we introduce professional learning and we introduce the unit is we like for people who are participating to participate as, well, we are all learners, but to participate as learners and experience the pieces of the unit just as students would. So we'll do the driving question. We will debrief the driving question board. We'll talk about modeling, and I know Joe has talked to you about Sage Modeler, and we can talk about that when we get to that. Then we will debrief the modeling, and we'll probably that will probably be our 2 hours for today. And then tomorrow we will continue. So going on to slide 4. So the goal of Health in Our Hands is really to be able to develop and sustain this novel way for designing science education that inspires engagement. So we know that it's really important for students to engage in science and in STEM learning, and also a career component so that students understand that science is in many aspects of our daily lives, and that STEM careers don't necessarily mean that you're the scientist working on the bench in the lab, that there are so many different ways that STEM learning helps careers in our everyday life. And so our units mostly work with middle and high school units. And so we do this through high quality curriculum materials, innovative professional learning, and a focus on community health and science education partnerships. So the Health in Our Hands unit that we'll be talking about is a middle school science curriculum, and it focuses on the core idea of gene-environment interactions and the effects on health. And so we'll get into what I mean about the gene-environment interactions in just a moment. And so it's really a shift in how we're thinking about teaching and learning science. And we think about it through community-inspired project-based learning. And I know you've also talked about project-based learning. So we won't go over that too much, but you'll see, or I hope that you will notice the different aspects of project-based learning. And so why this new approach? Well, when you think about what gene-environment interactions are, it's a way to think about health as well, and how that intersects with three-dimensional learning. So when it says here, and I'm sorry, I meant to change this. So this is really three-dimensional, 3D learning of science, or 3D learning through science education. And so what we mean by gene-environment interactions is that we know that in biology, we are all made of DNA. That is the component that codes for everything that includes life, correct? And so there are certain things that, well, we have now come to a point in science where we've been able to, we've been able to code the genome, right? So we've mapped the human genome, we can clone genes, we can edit them. Now we have CRISPR, we have all these really wonderful things, but it hasn't gotten to a point, and there's ethical issues around this, right? Whether or not we should be doing gene editing and things like that. But there are these genetics that code for who we are. But there's also a very important environmental component that also influences how healthy we are or how we live. And so the idea is that we really want students to understand that there's a genetic component and there's an environmental component. And then there is the intersection of the genetic environmental component that really does influence our health. And we want students to be able to understand that. And so the reason why we focused on these ideas is that really we know from research that in general there's a core understanding of core ideas in science, like this idea of gene-environment interactions. We also know that it's important because of a decline in students' interest and motivation and excitement for learning about science, that we need to find a different way to engage students. And also the fact that many people don't necessarily see the relevance of science in their daily lives. And we want students to be engaged and see how science actually is a part of their daily life. And so the Health in Our Hands there are three components to Health in Our Hands. So when I say NGSS aligned, I mean three-dimensional learning. So there's this component of three-dimensional learning. There's a community aspect, community action research projects that students do at the end, and it's project-based learning. And so I hope that you'll be able to, based on what you and what all of you have seen with Joe, if you see these components of project-based learning and three-dimensional learning in these units, in this unit. So the unit title is What Controls My Health? And so during our time together, we're going to focus on this unit. And it focuses on the phenomena of diabetes. So through a case study about a young girl named Monique who has diabetes. And so in the first learning set, we meet Monique and we hear her story through her eyes. So that's learning set 1, which is the introduction. In learning set 2, the sub-driving question is, how does diabetes affect Monique's body systems? And so in this learning set, the focus is really on the biology of diabetes. In learning set 3, how does Monique's family affect her diabetes? We focus on the genetic component. In learning set 4, how does where Monique lives and what she does affect her health? So in learning set 4, we're really focusing on environmental components that affect people's health. In learning set 5, how do Monique's characteristics and environment affect her health? And so in this learning set, we're really thinking about how gene-environment interactions, how they come together to either support or maybe sometimes hinder health. And in learning set 6, what can Monique do to make her environment healthier? We think about individual action. So while it's true that we may not be able to have any control over our genetics, there is individual action that we can take to be healthier. And we also at the end, the last learning set is how can we work together to make our environment healthier? So this is really where students now, through all of those things that they have learned through learning set 1 through 6, now they focus on a question, thinking about their community and how can they take action to make their environment healthier, whether that's at the school level or at a bigger level within their community. So we'll meet Monique. We'll also meet a young man named Tim who has diabetes, and a young lady named Misty who also has diabetes, and their experience with diabetes. But the main focus throughout the learning set will be on Monique. And the other piece that we think is very important about this unit is that throughout each of the learning sets, we also introduce a different career to students. So in learning set 2, when they're learning the biology of diabetes, we also talk about the career of a lab technician. In the genetic component, we introduce the idea of genetic counselor. In the environmental, we talk about an environmental person who studies science and environment. And so it's also a focus of what are different careers that students might be interested or might pursue throughout this unit. And so I don't want to dwell on this too much. I know that you have talked about this with Joe, but I also want you to think about, as we're going through and experiencing the unit, do you see these different pieces that are important pieces of project-based learning? So do you see that students through this unit would be pursuing or are pursuing solutions to a meaningful question? They explore question by participating in authentic, situated inquiry to figure out why phenomena occurs. Engaging in collaborative activities to find solutions. and using learning technologies and other scaffolds to help students participate in activities and create artifacts. So I want you to be thinking about project-based learning as we're going through and experience some of these pieces of the unit. So I want to just stop here for a moment and see if anyone has any questions or any comments. Okay. Joe, nothing in the chat?
Nothing in the chat.
Okay. Okay, so let's start with so students are first introduced to the phenomena, which is Monique's diabetes, and students are encouraged, as is the project-based learning idea, that we're going to figure out and not learn about diabetes. They're figuring it out. So let's start with brainstorming. So I would like you to okay. If people could, who have access, I'm going to put this in the chat. If you could please go to this PowerPoint, we're going to be doing some work in this PowerPoint. And if you could go to slide 2 of this PowerPoint. And I want you to think about what does brainstorming mean? What does brainstorming mean? So you can use the chat, or if you can enter this PowerPoint and write some ideas of what it's on. We're on slide 3. What is brainstorming? Not slide 2, excuse me. We're on slide 3. What is brainstorming? So if you can put it in the chat or put it in the PowerPoint, or if you want to say it, if you want to share it verbally, you can. Okay, so I see someone put in the PowerPoint, it's checking prior knowledge of students. What else? Let's see, wait, I'm gonna go to that. And for some reason, others. Gathering ideas, okay. Okay, we're focusing students. Oh, I love that. Yes, and I'm gonna put that Saltanat, I'm going to put that in the if you don't mind. Oh, wait, sorry. I'm going to put that in. Right, we're sharing ideas without judging anyone's other ideas. So in brainstorming, are there any wrong answers? What about, I want to ask about when you're doing something like brainstorming with your students, So on slide 4, what are the rules of brainstorming? So we want to focus on this idea of brainstorming being where students are definitely, you're able to kind of see students' prior knowledge or thinking, and you are gathering ideas and you're focusing students on something, and they're sharing their ideas without judgment. And so, yes, so this could be a lesson hook. Brainstorming allows you to determine the zone of proximal development of students. Yes. And so it's really just students being free to talk about their ideas around something. And so, but we also want to make sure that we stay within that zone, right? And so what, are there rules necessarily for brainstorming? So on slide 4, are there rules for brainstorming, or what are the rules for brainstorming? Okay. Time limitations, okay. Oh, I like this, yes. Oops. Oops. Oops, I'm trying to put in. There we go. Right, none of the thoughts are criticized and are taken into account by the conversation monitor. Exactly. Students should be free to speak. We want to encourage students to share their thoughts. Exactly. Any other final thoughts? Right, get out of the box. I like that. Yeah, as much as possible, right? You want students to just, you want them to talk. What are your ideas? And teachers should. Okay. So this is what I want to do. I want us to think about, let's go back to I'm going to go back to our slides. So I want to activate your prior knowledge around diabetes. So if you can go to slide 5. So everyone has brought up wonderful ideas about what brainstorming is and some of the rules. And so this is what we want to start with the students. First of all, what does brainstorming mean and what are some rules around that? And now I want us to focus on the idea of, now we're going to think about the phenomena. So we're going to be talking about diabetes. So I want to know, what do you know about diabetes? What's your experience with diabetes? And it's okay if you don't have experience or you don't know a lot. That's okay. And do you know anyone who has diabetes? How might diabetes or any other health issues, such as high blood pressure, asthma, affect your quality of life? Why do some of us have diabetes, high blood pressure, asthma, while others don't? So we're brainstorming. Right now, we're just brainstorming things that we know about diabetes. Okay, it relates to eating habits, a lot of sugar. Okay, it is a degenerative disease. Oh, okay, so some people in the group have know people who have diabetes. Okay, so we know there's maybe some eating or diet that might go in it. Some of you know people who have diabetes. Oh, it's genetic, okay. So I really appreciate everyone, you know, people participating and putting their thoughts here. And we're going to have some more opportunities to think about our thoughts about diabetes. Will stimulate, will stimulate other diseases, okay. Okay, so I want to move on to, so we've brainstormed some ideas that we have around diabetes. And now I want to introduce you to Monique. So I think the best thing might be, I can play the video. I hope that everyone, would it be better for me to play the video or for you all to well, you're all muted, or would you like to watch it on your own? I'll give you about 2.5, well, it's 2:44 minutes to watch the video.
Rini, I think they can hear it if you play it.
Okay, I'll play it.
I'll let you know.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we're going to watch a short video about Monique. While we're watching it, I want you to watch it, and I want you to, we're going to then think about, what did we see? What does it make us think? And what do we wonder about Monique and her story that she's telling us? So let's watch it.
3 words to describe the old man. Unmotivated, lonely. 3 words to describe the new Monique. Outgoing, talkative, and open. I am really proud of myself because it was hard work. When I found out I had diabetes, I was very shocked. It was like really hard being first diagnosed and then getting used to taking medication. I was the only person with type 2 diabetes in my household. It felt like I was the oddball in my family. My room was like my own little world. I would watch TV for hours and hours. I was never going outside. It was never like being connected, and that's what made me depressed. I didn't care about myself, about my diagnosis. I just completely gave up on everything. That changed in April, knowing that I was moving in with my grandmother. She helped me balance myself. She encouraged me to do better. I wanted to change, go bad. And I knew the only way I could change it and to better myself was eating the right food and taking my medicine. I had to start exercising, even if it was the simplest thing like walking. There's an elevator and there's stairs. There's the bus and then there's my feet. Adding a little exercise made the biggest difference. In the last 6 months, I've lost 50 pounds. When I'm walking, I think about the what if questions. What if I wasn't doing something? If I wasn't walking, if I wasn't in the right, what if I what shoes will I be in then? I think about the way I was before and what I overcame. There are days that I want to give up, but I don't want to go back to the old me, so I'm just focusing on my future and what I really want to do. If I put my mind to it, I know that I can do anything I want to do.
Okay. So everyone was able to hear that okay? So I would like you to go to slide. Well, okay, so I want us to think about, what did you see in the video? What did it make you think? And what did it make you wonder? If you go to slide 6 on if you go to slide 6 here, you'll see that there's 3 boxes: see, think, and wonder. I want us to think about what are things that you saw in that video? What did it make you think? And what did it make you wonder? I'd like people to put their thoughts in here, please. Okay. So I put the link again, just in case. I put the link to the PowerPoint, and I'm also putting, that was the first link I just put in. And I'm also putting the link to this document that we're all working in. So the first link is to the PowerPoint presentation, and the second link is to the document that I'm having all of you work in, that I'm sharing currently. Oh, interesting. Okay, so you saw overweight suffer mentally and physically. Think diabetes relates to body weight. Why is she the only family member with diabetes? So that's a wonder. That's an interesting wonder. Relation to specific lifestyle. You wonder, decreasing weight will recover from diabetes by doing exercise, right? So is the wonder, will decreasing weight, will she recover from diabetes by doing exercise? Okay, what are some other things? Does the treatment cost? Okay, is it costly? I know we might go off of our page a little, that's okay, this is great, that people are putting in their ideas, what they're seeing, thinking, wondering. Okay, relation to a specific lifestyle, that's interesting. So I want us to see, so this is a wonderful start. I want us to go back to this, I want us to look at, we don't have a whole lot of time, but I want us to see one more video. This is a different person who has diabetes, but I want you to also think about this. What does it, what do you see? What does it make you think? And what does it make you wonder in relation to what Monique has been saying about diabetes? So we're gonna see a video about Joe, not Professor Kraychik, but another person named, or no, sorry, Joe's video. This is Tim's, sorry. This is Tim's video. Not Joe's, this is Tim. Okay, let's watch this video. And again, I want you to think about, what do you see, what do you think, and what do you wonder?
Today is Sunday, shopping day. Whee! You're excited, right?
Very excited.
Before we go shopping, we'll look through the coupons to see what's on sale. Oh my goodness. Tons of that stuff on sale. For some reason, it's always back on the front of advertisements.
I have a mom bag going in the fridge and just seeing whatever we ran out of or whatever we need. Yeah, we could also get more fruits and vegetables in there.
He needs to go food shopping with me, and I'm always on that one to come because he reads labels on everything.
Yeah. But I found out I had diabetes. I started going with everyone because I was like going insane. I really don't have like a favorite section. I just go at these to wherever they go and follow them. Before I had diabetes, I used to never read labels. Just ate whatever I felt like. I went to a nutritionist and she told me a lot of important information about food. I just started reading labels after that. She taught me to look for sugar, and she told me about like carbs, because carbs pretty much is sugar. Then just to look for like sodium. Sodium is like pretty much salt, and sounds bad for like. She taught me to try to stay away from things that are white. So we have like brown rice, wheat bread. When I choose cereal, I like to aim for something that is like less than 5 grams sugar. Whole grain and wheat bread. That's pretty much all it has, and that's pretty good.
Okay, found out Timmy's favorite aisle. We stay away.
Really tempting, just look over there, all the Oreos.
I try to get him like right past.
Trick is so, you know, on the outside, so on the outside, like, pretty much healthy stuff up. In the middle is where most of the processed food is.
One I would stay out of with all the candy and snacks that we really don't need, and potato chips we don't use.
My nutritionist taught me to look for like hidden sugars, like alcohol sugar, because a lot of things that are like sugar free have hidden sugar in it. The sugar free stuff has 8 grams of alcohol sugar. Hidden sugar is pretty much just like sugar.
What should we talk about? I seen sugar free, I was just so okay, there's no sugar in there. And we talking a lot, I've been diabetic for years and I never read labels and you taught me I should be more aware. You trained me very well.
If my mom wasn't here shopping with me, I'd probably get a little tempted by the cookies, but I think I'd do pretty good. I think that was a pretty good shopping trip.
So thinking about this idea of see, think, and wonder, and people have put many ideas here on slide 6. What other things from this video with Tim? I know that this one was might have been a little bit harder to understand. Their talking was a little bit muffled, it seemed like. Were you able to see, what were some of the things you were able to see? What did it make you think? And what did it make you wonder? So I'm going to just give you about 30 seconds, but what I want to do next is to split you up into breakout rooms. And with your partner, I'd like you to think about, the next slide is, oh, what happened to my, oh, brainstorming question. Oh, right, if we need to, we can probably duplicate this slide. Let's see, let's duplicate if people wanted to put more. I just made another slide 7. I'm going to take this out because we have it on slide 6. But I know we've kind of ran out of room, but what I would like you to do in your pairs, I'm going to put you in breakout rooms, and what I would like you to do is on slide 7, no, now it's 8, is I want you to, using that idea of wonder, I'd like you to brainstorm some questions that the videos brought up for you around diabetes. So what questions do you have? This is really coming from the what you saw, what I think, what I wonder. So there is already a couple of questions that people put here in the think and wonder. So one of them is, why is she the only family member with diabetes? That's a question we can put on our driving question board. And somebody put, what is her eating habit? Does the treatment cost a lot? Is it costly? So what I want you to do, and it's only going to be for about 2 minutes, I'm going to break you into, oh, if I can do this, hold on one second. I'm going to put you in breakout rooms, and I'd like you to talk with your partner and brainstorm questions on slide 8. If we have to go to 9, that's fine, but put questions that you have that these 2 videos brought up. One moment while I find breakout rooms. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to assign automatically, and oh shoot, how many people are there? How many of us are there? 2, 4, 6, 8.
So I think if you go in the 4 groups or 5 groups, it's fine.
Okay, we'll do 5 groups. Okay, I'm going to create them.
So, some of the people are me and you and Tessera and et cetera, right? So we don't necessarily, not everybody that's listed will be in a breakout room, although we can go in and see if they have questions. So you probably want 4 or 5 breakout rooms.
Okay, perfect. So I'll make 5 breakout rooms. I'm going to create them now. Open all rooms, and we'll come back in about 2.5 minutes. So from those videos, what are some things that we were seeing or thinking or wondering? We're on slide 9, and I'll put this in the chat just in case people aren't on here. Chat.
So we need to go to the doc. Okay.
What? Oh, wait, somebody just took our paper. We'll go. What room are we? We're room 3. Okay, I'm gonna put room 3 here. On slide 9, there's room 3.
So we are on slide 9, yes?
Yes. Well, so and we're room 3. We're right here. I'll highlight it yellow. What are some questions that we have about these videos? Do we have all of the information that we need from Monique about diabetes or her life? What are some questions?
So for me personally, I couldn't hear properly the video, the first one especially about Monique. I don't know about other participants, maybe they can speak out, but also personally for me, what it's interesting and driving questions for me, is diabetes genetics disease?
Okay, so I put that in.
This question is interesting for me, and what is the best treatment to control it?
Oh, that's an
to
interesting
have a quality
question.
life.
Okay, how do you control diabetes? And then what was it? I'm sorry, what was the next one that you said?
It just was the next. It's like to have a quality life.
Oh, okay, okay.
Control to quality life, and that's it. I think I know that we need to have the diabetes persons. They need to have a diet, a special diet. It's like in the second video. From the second video, we may understand it. It's like a low sugar. And something like this.
Okay. What about so these are all really good points. Saltanat, right? Saltanat?
Yes, Saltanat.
So what about Sal or Azlini? Do you have any questions that this is bringing up?
What type of diabetes she has?
Okay, right. What is their diet? Okay. Yeah.
Type of diabetes.
I'm sorry?
What types of diabetes?
Oh. What type of diabetes?
Yes.
Oh,
There is for.
Okay. Okay, what else? And am I saying that right? It's Damkova? Is that correct? And Azlini? What are some, are there any other ideas? Let's see, did we pass our 2-minute? I'll say.
How can she manage her diabetes better?
Okay, how do you manage diabetes?
And one more, how early can we find it that people have this disease? And what is the signs of this disease? How can we understand that we have some problems and we need to kind of red flags?
Yeah, so can I put how do you detect diabetes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
First.
Is that, okay? Yeah, you brought up a lot of really good questions. I like this. Okay, let me, okay, so let's see, let's see if we can get everyone to come back. Play chime, recognize. Okay, oh wait, how do I stop the breakout rooms? Breakout rooms. Okay, we're gonna close the room, we're gonna come back and we're gonna share with the rest of the group. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for participating in this. Let's see what other groups have to say. I'm gonna close the rooms. I think it'll give us, right, it'll give us 60 seconds.
Consuelo, I think everybody's back if you want to start.
think you're still muted.
I said, I think,
Oh, I didn't. Yes, I'm sorry, didn't realize I was muted. Thank you, everybody. I've been talking and didn't realize I was muted. I apologize. So I love this. People have come up with some really, really interesting questions. So how did it go? How was it writing questions? You can use the chat if you'd like. So I see this one, right? Why is she the only one? What is the menu for the family? That's a great question. Is diabetes a genetic disease for both type 1 and type 2? Oh, so there's a type 1 and type 2, or we think. How effective is it to see sugar ingredients on the label? Can sugary foods trigger diabetes? What are other related diseases, right, because of diabetes? Are there any differences? So what is the quality? So we came up with in room 4. What is the quality of life? What's their diet? So I see between rooms 1 and 4 and 2 and 3, I see we have some similarities in the kinds of questions that we have. So I'm wondering if we can we group? Oh no. I didn't Aghanim, you were alone in the room. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I'm okay, you know.
Were you in room 5?
No, I was in room 4. So that's my
Oh, I'm very sorry that happened. Okay, well, when we break out in groups again, we'll definitely make sure that no one is left alone in the room. I apologize. So I want us to think now. So we've come up with these wonderful questions through the videos of things that we saw, that made us think, and that we're wondering. And it looks like one of the groups said that they had a good discussion. And if you look at slide 8 and slide 9, you can see some questions that are pretty similar. So someone in room 1 asked what the menu was. And in room 4, Aghanim, right? You talked about the food, right? What is appropriate level of sugar? Are there differences between sugar-free? So these questions kind of have to do with diet. And on slide 9, we also talked about the diet. We talked about Tim, and at room 2 talked about the knowledge of a balanced diet. There were also questions about the genetics of it. So we start seeing some categories within all of our different breakout groups. There are still some, we see people asking similar questions. So are there ways that we can categorize these questions? So looking at, for example, one of the things I'm noticing is we're asking about diet. We've asked about, it looks like we also are asking about genetics. Looking at slide 8 and 9, what are some other categories maybe that we could make here?
There's a note in the chat that says maybe we group them in terms of nutrition, daily habits, etc. From Agama.
Okay, so there's diet, maybe daily habits. Besides diet, maybe do we also mean exercise or activity?
Agama would have to answer that, but I would think that besides exercise, it could be just, being outside in the sun with that. I'm not sure what she meant.
No, it was just example. I meant like some people who suffer from diabetes, they should follow, like they should level their sugar and like eat some food and also like follow some rule, day by day. So I meant that like.
Okay, so diet, exercise, so like a routine? Do they have a routine, you mean? No?
Probably, yeah, they have some routine, or I meant that how it affects to their everyday life,
Okay, oops. Oh, I put it on. And then somebody put in the chat also types of diabetes, right? So somebody put type 1 and type 2. That's interesting. We talked about more than one group talked about genetics, diet, exercise. Are there any other groups here that we could make from, or any other categories that we see?
Family background or family influence?
Oh, family. Okay. Tell me more about that. What do you mean by family influence? I like that idea. Tell me more.
Yeah, I think it depends on the habit of the family or the strictness regulation or rules inside the family.
Okay, family habits, rules. Anything else? Did anybody else thought of for categories that we might make based on our questions from slide 8 and 9? And this one's
What
easy.
about
maybe
the knowledge or understanding of the person or the patient?
Say that again.
The
Courtney?
knowledge or understanding or education, is it
Okay, so
also influence?
like education,
Yeah.
knowledge.
Maybe the awareness, being aware of like
Sí.
their disease.
Awareness of the disease.
who in the group of the risks of this disease?
Say again.
Who is probably might be in the group or of the risks of this disease?
Oh, okay, so risk. People who are at higher risk. Something like that.
Yeah. Also, for example, now it's interesting for me the bioprocesses of this disease. What's happening in the organism, in people's bodies when you suffer from this disease? What's the
Okay.
bioprocess?
The biology of the disease. Okay. So I think we have a good start of categories. Now I want us to think about what are the questions, what are the specific questions that go into that we have on slide 8 and 9 that go into, let's say, the category of diet. So from slide 1, maybe it's this one. Oops, sorry about that. What is the menu? That has to do with diet, right? So maybe we can put under the category of diet, this question. I'm gonna move these down for just a minute. Sugar levels, that has to do with diet, do you think? Or which I was thinking this might be, where did it go? I was thinking on slide 8 that what is the appropriate sugar level to the person, or do you think that might go under biology of?
I meant in this
That's
point about the
biology.
awareness about our daily habits. Like some people who suffer from diabetes, they should, if they're dependent from insulin, so they should like check their level of sugar, etc. So it's more affected to the life, I guess, to know it and measuring it.
So maybe it's the awareness of the disease, maybe that goes there. Wait, let's
Can go.
Let's do this because these are the categories, right? So, sorry, let me take a step back. Let's not jump around. Let's do this one at one. So in room 1, we won't do all of them, but I want you to get the idea of what we're doing here. So why is she the only person, the only one in the family with diabetes? What category on slide 10 do you think that question might go under?
Genetics.
Genetics.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's put that there. What about
I
what
think you
about?
copy the wrong
You made
statement.
mistake.
I'm sorry.
I think you just paste the wrong question here.
Oh, I did. I'm sorry. I did. Sorry, copied the wrong one. Thank you for noticing that. Let's go back. Why? Here we go. Why is she the only family member? Copy. Genetics. What about? We did What's our other question? What is the menu? Let's look at, so I'm just gonna take a couple from each because we don't have time to do them all, but basically we would want to figure out from room 1, all of these questions into what category would they go to? Let's look at a couple from room 4. What about this question? What is the other related disease they may have because of diabetes? What category from our categories here do you think that might go to?
Is biology.
Okay, do others agree?
Biology of the disease.
Yeah.
Oh, why does it keep doing that? Sorry. I apologize, my copying and pasting is not cooperating today. Biology, okay. What about from room 4? What about this question? What about, or what should I be aware of to be healthier?
Education.
Is a habit.
Habits?
Uh,
What do we think?
You might go to the habit or that the awareness.
Okay, it could go, so it could go to habit or awareness. What do other people think? Maybe habit and awareness, maybe these. Could those actually be, is that possibly one? Is
One
that
category.
Yeah, what do we think?
I think it's more to education because it can be applied to anyone who wanted to know more about diabetes.
Okay. And it's not wrong if we want to put it. Oh, I still did it wrong, didn't I? Did I copy the right one? Again, I didn't copy the right one. What should I be, wait, which was the question we had?
Yeah,
Yeah,
what
no,
about
I
should
thought-
motivate?
Why, sorry, I don't know why I'm having such a hard time copying and pasting today. Okay, let's go back to here. Okay, I'm gonna do it right this time, promise. Oh, why does it keep moving? Okay. There. And we could put it, I mean, we could continue a discussion, but we could potentially put it in both of these and then later on decide that it goes better under one category or the other. So we want to do this with all of the questions that we have in room 1 and room 4 and 2 and 3. Where would all of these questions, which categories that we decided would they go under? But under diet, for example, what is the main question? Let's say we want to know about diet, under which all of these other food related things go. Is there like a main question that we could ask that would encompass the idea of foods and diet? What are some
Like
thoughts about that?
sugar level, probably, or the list of the product or the food they might consume.
What kind of diet that will, yeah, what kind of diet that will impact on diabetes?
Okay, what kind of diet, do we want to say maybe, what kind of diet positively or negatively affects diabetes?
Yeah.
And also maybe the question, why?
Right, we could put under here, right, so as we're creating our categories and our main questions, under those categories, other questions might come up. So that's great, so why do we, or why do people with diabetes have to eat certain things, or are not able to eat certain things, right? We could ask those questions. So this is wonderful. So as we're using the questions we already have, and we see how some questions fall into these categories, it also makes us think about other questions. And that's really the point of doing this driving question board, is that all of a sudden, through working together, first thinking about it individually as we're watching the video, and then working in our smaller groups, and now working as a whole group, it brings up a whole new set of questions that we have. And that's great. That's the point of doing this. So I want us to think about, so I'm going to take a step back for a second, and I want to show you an example of a driving question board from one of our classes. So you can see that the students came up with questions. The sticky notes are like what we did, those other questions that we have. So we have, how do Monique's characteristics and environment affect her health? And students wrote various questions that fell under that category. So we might have a question, we might have a big theme that has something about her diet and maybe activity. And we could have all kinds of questions that fall under that category.
Consuelo, if you put in play mode, we could see it better.
So I want to ask
Consuelo, if you put in
questions,
play mode, we could.
What questions come up about this process, about asking questions and about making categories? So let's look at slide 20. What did you notice? So I want us to take a step back. We've been thinking as learners about diabetes. Now I want us to think as educators about this process. What did you notice about going through this process? What went well or what was difficult? Is this different from what you've experienced before in classes about learning about a new topic? So specifically, how is this different than how we might have introduced a topic or a unit in the past? What are some big takeaways? Well, thinking about, I don't know if, is everyone who is working with the different students or pre-service teachers, is it all face-to-face or is it online?
It's both.
It's hybrid.
So another thing to think about is online or face-to-face considerations. We, because of geography, have had to do this online and using PowerPoint. There are different tools that you could use, even in the classroom, that students could use to write all the questions they have and to categorize them. But first, I just would like some ideas of what did you notice? Let's put some ideas in the chat, or let me insert another slide. On slide 11, oops, debrief. What did you notice?
I think the teacher or we try to help the student to think systematically by
What went well or what was difficult about this about I'm just gonna put DQ for driving question. The driving question board.
May I say the point of view? So I see this question really kind of useful. And I agree with Murni that she said like it's really helped to think systematically and do the sub-driving question, the driving question and sub-driving question, etc. But when we have like a different type of questions as we categorize them right now, so which we should have some goal.
I can't hear you.
You don't hear me? No?
Oh, you're not speaking?
I am speaking. Do you hear me?
I hear you, and I think there's something with Consuelo's.
Yes, we can
There's
hear
something
you.
wrong with Consuelo's machine.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened to my, can you hear me?
I
Yes.
do hear you. Do you hear me?
Oh my gosh, I couldn't hear anything. I apologize. This technology is either me, it's me. I'm sorry, I'm having technical
Oh, you
difficulties.
good?
So I didn't hear anything you said. I am so sorry.
Okay, so do you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to say that I was agree. If you heard the point of Murni, Murni said that this question helps think systematically. We have like a driving question and we dig deeper and we have sub-driving question. It really helps to think systematically. However, if we have a bunch of questions or different type of questions like in categorized as here, so without categorizing, it will be kind of, we will more have the expanded answers from the students, you know, it's another hand. So, I mean, maybe we should have some goals or in one question and dig deeper or have like a 2 or 3 question. So, so it goes kind of a lot of answers if we have so many type of questions, because like nutrition is something different, genetics is also the different. Yeah, so I guess the categorizing it's helpful in terms of this.
Right, because remember when we start, what we're doing is brainstorming. So we're just having students see the video and we just want them to think about all of the things that they're thinking about, that they're wondering, that they're seeing. So it is a lot. And then if we can have the students pare that down to, if they share those ideas, those questions, then we can categorize them, like you said, and that helps rein that in so it's not everywhere, right? And students can say, so if you have, so it seems like we have a lot of ideas about diet. It seems like we have ideas about exercise. So having the students, so what we typically do, and it also helps because then students are up and moving a little bit, they're not just having to sit, is they write these things and you can see that on that picture on sticky notes. And they're able to, once they have the categories, then students can come up and put those sticky notes under those categories. And then you can decide, maybe we should think of one big question that encompasses maybe diet and exercise. And so you can help them formulate a question around that. And what I really like what we were doing in our group, or as we did this, was that more questions were coming up. And so the driving question board is a living document. Even as you're going through the unit and the different learning sets, you always begin the unit with the driving question. What did we have? We're going to focus on the biology of diabetes. So what questions did we already have about biology? And we go and we look at the questions that students have. Then we go through that learning set. And before we finish that learning set, we go back to the driving question and say, wow, did we answer some of these questions that we had about the biology of diabetes, and students can see that many of those questions will be answered, and sometimes it'll bring up new questions for that next idea.
I see. Thank you.
Sure. So what were some other ideas I'm going to look at the chat. Save time to spend on topics when we categorize it. The students can elaborate this topic easily. Okay, they more enjoy using this method. Okay, so people have people used something similar to what we just did? Oops, I don't see my chat. Okay, so Nadja says, I usually discuss diabetes together with cardiovascular disease and obesity. Oh, right, too much content, therefore cannot discuss deeper. Right, so Murni, the video, right? During this whole time, we didn't have students do any kind of reading, we didn't give them any vocabulary. We're coming and introducing the phenomena through an experience, right? First, we want to know, what do you know about diabetes? And maybe students have varied ideas about diabetes. And maybe somebody in the chat or in one of our slides said they knew people who had diabetes. So you're going to get a whole range of things. And then students watch this video and it gets them to thinking. So we didn't do I didn't introduce any vocabulary. We didn't do any reading. It was mostly just coming from what students were seeing and thinking and wondering. And then in the next learning set, we will start to learn about the biology of diabetes. And yes, it's true, Murni, sometimes the students do keep silent. So using sticky notes or using pieces of paper that then you can tape in the categories is one way to get students to participate without necessarily having to talk, but it's a way for them to participate if each student has to come up with at least one question. What are some other thoughts?
I think other thoughts about it. It's kind of brain stretching for students because they need to go deeper inside of the question, and also to understand that the good question it is the half of success.
Yes, and even if so I know sometimes we have teachers who say the students can't come up with any questions, and that's okay. If they can write down the ideas together, we can form a question. So if someone just says diet, she talks about her diet. Well, how do we turn that into a question? So maybe we say, what is her diet? Or she talks about eating junk food, and you can say, what kind of junk food maybe is bad for you? Is there good junk food? So sometimes students have a hard time they have a lot of ideas, but maybe they write the ideas and maybe together you work to formulate questions that come out of those ideas. Well, any other thoughts? Oh, that's a great question. So how to answer the irrelevant questions from students. So I have a thought on that, but what do people think about that? So what we usually encourage the teachers to do is to have what we call a parking lot or a garage. So students bring up a question that it doesn't really relate or very distantly relates, and we say, that's an interesting question. Why don't we put this in the parking lot? If we can't figure out where it goes in the category, we put it in a parking lot. And later on, I know teachers have used it as extra credit. If they're really good questions, then you can say, here's an opportunity to get extra credit. If somebody wants to take one of those parking lot questions and do some more research on it. Oh, okay, and Joe says, right. And if it's really irrelevant, like really way out, maybe you ask the student, how is this related to what we're talking about? And it also gets at, maybe the student actually wasn't able to articulate that idea, and so it sounds like it's irrelevant, but once you hear the student's ideas, maybe it really did relate, and they just needed a little bit of help articulating or trying to reword what they said. So I want us to think about, and I won't spend too much time, but thinking about the features of project-based learning, which you have talked about already. Oh, thank you, Aghanim. Yeah, the parking lot seems to work pretty well with for the teachers that some of the teachers that we've talked to who use that. So answering the driving question and this process of students figuring out, right? It's that we experience a phenomena. So in this case, we experience diabetes through these videos and through prior knowledge. What do students already come with ideas? So what ideas did they come with about diabetes? Then they experience a phenomenon. This raises questions. That's exactly what we were doing. We were raising questions based on just the snippets that we saw from Monique and from Tim. It made us think about different things, and we had a wonderful list of questions. Then this leads to using scientific practices and big ideas. So we start thinking, well, how do we figure this out? How do we figure out the biology of it? How do we figure out the genetics? Why was Monique the only one who had diabetes in her family? And we saw this, it develops new questions as we were thinking about the questions and we were categorizing them. It actually brought up some new questions. And this is leading us to thinking about using scientific ideas to figure out, which is here. We'll figure out some new things and develop new questions. And so we've been identifying these themes to investigate: diet, genetics, biology. These are all really great ideas that we figured out we need to figure out. Where are we? We have about 15 minutes. So I just want to pause for a moment and ask if there's any questions or any comments before we move on to modeling.
Yeah, I have a question. In Indonesia, we mostly have about 30 to 35 students in a class. So when we do asking for students to comment or to respond or to ask a question, sometimes only active students respond our question. So do you have any idea to also involve all the students to participate in the learning process?
I like that question. So before I give any ideas, I want to ask the group. I'm sure everybody has had this happen. So what are some ideas? What are some things that other people use? Murni, thank you for that question. It's very relevant. What do people think about that? What do you do? What do others do in the group when this happens? You can use the chat if you'd like, or you can unmute. Sometimes I would give extra points for those who participate. Okay.
Usually, can I share?
Yes.
Okay. Usually for discussions, topics like this, I conduct this discussion together with access to interactive apps like Mentimeter. So if some of my students prefer to key in their answer or their ideas, they can key in through Mentimeter. But if they prefer to voice out their answer, they can raise up their hands, because the participation through Mentimeter is anonymous, and some of the students enjoy that anonymity.
Okay, okay. So providing students with the opportunity to do it anonymously, or if they want to participate out loud. And Joe said he likes to say things like, how are your ideas similar or different from what Tim said, for example? Okay, what are some other ideas that people have? So one of the things that we've done is using the sticky notes or giving students a piece of paper and saying, on the back, I'd like you to, or on the bottom, you have to write your name, and everyone has to contribute one question. So that's not they don't have to necessarily participate verbally. And it gives them a different way to participate, right? Instead of having to, excuse me, talk in class, they can write something. Well, let's see, Joe said, I feel very comfortable asking a student to respond, but always being cautious not to push too hard. Yes, and I think part of it is being able to make an environment where all the students feel comfortable in participating, and that's not always an easy thing to do. And especially when you have, like Morny, you said 30 students, more than 30 students in a class. So finding different ways to have them participate. One of the things that I like to do is having them first think individually, giving them a minute, because sometimes it's just that people need time to process. So giving them a moment to think on their own. And then I say, now with your elbow partner, so the person next to you, whichever side, you two come up with one question. And then maybe you work in a group of 4 or 5, and those people have to talk about their question. And then you can share it out as a whole group, so that you have this individual, pair, group, and then whole group level. So you're kind of scaffolding the students to participate. Another thing I've seen people do, and I know this may sound elementary, but people have, they take like popsicle sticks and they put students' names on it, and they just randomly pick and ask them to participate. But like Joe says, you have to be cautious not to push too hard on students who really are shy and have a hard time participating. So if you have different ways to let them participate, I think that's one suggestion, is offering different ways, not that they always have to talk. Any other thoughts? So with the time we have left, I'd like us to get into thinking about how we build modeling. So in this unit, at the end of each learning set, students are asked to build a model that represents the ideas from that learning set. And the idea is that at the end, they can put all of these models together to tell the story of Monique's diabetes, or diabetes in general. But instead of, I know you all have experience with Sage Modeler. What I say to you is, you can choose to do Sage Modeler with your students when doing this unit, or you can do paper pencil. What we found for our middle school students is that paper pencil is a really good place for them to start. And if teachers have experience, some of our teachers have taken the Sage Modeler class, so they'll have students do paper model or paper pencil model, and then have them transfer it to Sage Modeler. It's really up to the teacher, because the teachers know their students better than we do. So let's think about modeling diabetes. So right now we still don't know a whole lot, and that's okay. But if we think about what the sub-driving question for just this learning set was, what affects Monique's diabetes? So that's what we've been focusing on, right? We saw Monique's story. We saw how Tim's story kind of came into some of the things that Monique was talking about, specifically on nutrition. But we think about, so what was the sub-driving question, which is what affects Monique's diabetes? What questions did we have? We have slides 8. Oh, sorry, not here. We have slides 8 and 9 and 10 that have all of these wonderful questions that we've come up with. And what is the phenomena that we were trying to, what was the phenomena that we are trying to explain right now, just right now, in what we've learned so far? I'll give you a hint. Diabetes, right? The phenomenon specifically is Monique's diabetes. So what did we figure out from watching these videos? What did we figure out? Well, we can go back to our categories and our questions, right? We figured out, if we look at our categories, we figured out that there's something to do with diet, right? We figured out that there's something to do with exercise, activity, being outside. We figured out that diabetes can affect everyday activities in life. We figured out, right, that we think that there's a genetic component to this. We also, somebody brought up something about types of diabetes. We figured out that there are family connections here. We figured out that there might be some educational or knowledge or awareness about the disease. We also talked about, maybe we had some questions about certain people being at risk, and this actually might go under genetics. We also brought up this idea of biology of diabetes. So if we go over to our modeling, can we make a list of these different components that are that seem to be helping us think about what affects Monique's diabetes? So if you go to slide 24 in our slide deck, we have a modeling chart, and we just talked about all of these things. The sub-driving question was, what affects Monique's diabetes? Our questions. We don't have to put them all, but we had a whole selection of beautiful questions that we came up with on slides 8 and 9, and we moved some of them to 10. And the phenomena that we were trying to explain is Monique's diabetes. What did we figure out? Well, we figured out that there are many things that seem to affect Monique's diabetes. And the components that we came up with could be the components that we have for our categories. Now, the next question is, how do we build a visual to represent these ideas, these components around Monique's diabetes? So if we're building a model, what is the central piece to our model? What is that centerpiece to our model?
Diabetes or
Yeah.
or the issue, the main issue.
Right, diabetes, exactly. So if we think about that, so we've as a class, we made a list of our components, let's say if we're going to use the different categories that we came up with. So if we put Monique here in the middle, let's go to here, insert new slide. So if we go back to the PowerPoint slides that we've been working on, and we say, what if we put in the middle, we're gonna insert a text box, and we say, Monique's diabetes. Okay, let's make that a little bigger. And we put this in the middle right here. What are some components that we talked about?
Diet, genetics.
Okay, diet. Okay, so let's insert another text box and let's put diet. So, and somebody put, diet and I'm sorry, exercise? No, genetics, sorry.
Genetics.
Oh, perfect, thank you. Okay, so so I know you all have done the modeling with Joe. How do we connect these pieces? Where does it connect to?
So we have to think about the relation between diet and diabetes. For
Exactly.
example, is it make worse, or what kind of diet, or but I think we have to specify what kind of diet here. For example, high sugar or low sugar, then it will be measurable.
Okay, so it might be that diet has two components, right? That maybe you have healthy, maybe there's healthy food choices under diet, and maybe there are should we say bad, or let's say less healthy? Oops. Right, so each of them healthy, oops, I misspelled healthy. Healthy food choices and less healthy food choices have different effects on Monique's diabetes. So how do we represent that?
We have to draw an arrow.
Okay.
To make relation between those elements to Monique diabetes.
So so Monique's diabetes, so healthy foods affect Monique's diabetes?
And maybe because it's healthy food will make a decreasing of diabetes, so maybe minus, or we have to put some a symbol there to show the relation.
Exactly, so we could say, for example, well, let's see, we can put another, I don't want to take time to look for the symbol, but we can say healthy foods, well, let's see, we can put a plus. Where's my plus? Nope. Positively affect Monique's diabetes. Or healthy foods decrease her diabetes. So we'd have to decide how we're going to explain that, correct? If you're going to use Sage Modeler, it might be you have those choices of saying healthy food choices decreases Monique's diabetes, or healthy food choices positively impact their diabetes. So oh, we have 2 minutes. Okay, and I want to make sure that I'm honoring everyone's time. So all of this is to say that at the end of each learning set, so now we have been introduced to Monique. We've brainstormed what we thought about diabetes. and we've thought about the questions that we've had. We've come up with a lot of really great questions. And now we're just introducing the idea of modeling to students and how we're making connections to Monique, what we've learned so far about Monique, and we've started creating this model here. So then the next step would be the next learning set, where we start understanding the biology of diabetes. So in this first learning set, it's really just about introducing students to the phenomena and getting used to asking questions and wondering, because sometimes students aren't used to that. And it's also about getting them used to this idea of modeling. And now we're going to be showing through models our thinking and how things are affecting different things, and using our models to predict and explain our understanding. So we have 1 minute. I wanted to just close our session and ask if anyone had any final questions. And I am looking forward to continuing our discussion about this unit tomorrow. But if anybody has any questions, I can stay on for a little bit, but I know it's really late for all of you. And I just want to say again that it really is an honor to be working with all of you, and thank you. Oh, let me put my, I'm sorry, I'll put on the first slide at the top, I can put my email address if that's okay, Joe. And if anybody has any questions, you can email me.
Okay.
So thank you for coming, and I hope
Thank you.
Thank you for the session. Nice to meet you. Have a
you. It was
good
really nice meeting all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye. See you.
Saltanat, I see your question, and we're going to.
Yeah, it's maybe for the next session. It's not for now. I mean.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.